Hey. Hello. Edilho. Ai, a bala, que joelho, ora que choide, nesse chore, famous bee. Ora famous bee. Ei, da que te sidan. Ora para virar longo que chu, nem rocinha. Ei, chore que loi. Ai. Famous bee.
Ekajina no Samson le singiri
Sidai TV kajina no mesha kore kile sineli mulo
kajian karnai oleh kancel Edward
ekajina no Samson
Olengurani le Sidai TV aito montenolong tenari shata all the heart lengaji kitati kimaki mbaa naipirta eisho yon tomonok tiapa ore tenolong ari ne murua olaimutiai na natumore ntomononi nabo na metoliki yoke mbaa naipirta na inaishoi atumore ne ntomononi Alice Kilusu tana tenebo nanu Angela Muriet Maria Marina tenebo
Mukita bozwa zoko chai kisibaze neku mazidio tenebo na rendi mugana tolu lomoni na ale nkulungi dora rana jokanyo na rara ke maki tenono
shole
ineja ni seriani
sidai sidai yana ko bangole toduan ari shibe sina nole yedo de silo la mutiai ana ko na manya nanga ngai toduan ana jingi shua jone na wirangare
evi arudua
na norba yale silo raura ne gwari shibole ari andai karibu tangarne yeso ari shibole biye jogi kibonu nurara ngirisheni sidai FM
kesiva
ne akanyor sindai pirol tau ne gwari jo karibu mashiba kinontai ari akandai ashole narama yana ndaya ngai na nanu na nagiali ole kevi na manya sinanu na murua nabo aisha ngai yana shole amen
wow kiro nyajo le sala nisinye mbaba izomono yoko le ndole nanda jo
Orgiro ibi no sidai ni somani dir sukula baelo
vai
kara di graduation nya ka joga roma na kendai
kesipa
engara yo sukul ni diba baelo sininye na ishanga yi enkune rolenga amu oltungani sidai era mayana ngai ni diba sininye na kisumenye na idola jodo no barnoti
wow neja nyana murua laimutia
isa yo laimutia yole dolta na ji yetu enyori nganoi enyori paek nganoi tadi una na yini derua toyu ore kulo paek ni derua na bisho ne grata taltungana ka tumo mobo enchoa na idola je gira itobir barabara lenkopang pi esidai enkopang ole najingira siana ko enkare
kietu duijo kirobi kake gira keya aibelekenya
ore siana ko no supuko ninye osupuko rara ninye kirobi shole ngake ore abaiki alapa nekijo shiyo olapa lenkolong olapa lesiet
evi
ele tata likiti likitijinga kake ore pekijo matodol iterua nairuwaji tinakata nikincho Enkai enashe tenkaraki naa ina kirowuaj
kesipa
irobi duo tedekenya oleng
kirobi duo dipe kiponene kirobi ampaka
kirobi oleng
yolo aje woji naa neto ore taa itu akata baweni nikona do maitabau na nabaya amu atodua ajo iraki entomononi nayiolo ake nye lomon liapa
ayiolo amu ara sinanu marakiti
mira kakijo dijo iraki duo nijingo
ena oldasa lagira aibung agolie na sidai siapa sidai apa material no nkera yapa material amora pembulunoto onkera na meata na pena chemical
evi
neeku sidai na yo material namu kira yiok iltung'anak sidai nabo toyoki tenkata sidai neramati tenkata sidai na ina piidol ena kara kiti kake kara kitok oleng amu ore ele payian lai norkitoi pi ninye
evi
midol ajo kira iltung'anak kituak
lele iltung'anak
kituak pi
wow enkop sidai ena
oye
na kesidai na taata siyo kitabautua
ashe oleng
na tembae naitabawua yiok pekiponu na yiolo pekitumoki na aiteng'ena irmaasai na kenye eishoi yapa ontomonok tiapa amu yiolo tiapa ajo meetai intokitin kumok oshi taata nagirai aasishore kake ore naa tekuna olong'i netaa keetai lelo kiek akeyie lopaasha nikiyiolou ajo amaa dii ena good material amu tejo nai material sidai amu ena material sidai kai taa peikununye bae
esidai oleng kajoki sinanu ntae karibuni oleng kiimaki ake duo tenkata sidai kesipa naitoomon sinanu ntae peyie kiimaki naa kaaliki sii ntokitin nayiolo neeku kajo karibu oleng
wow ashe oleng mama
everything I do I under 50 under you never be under 50 understand nothing when you do me under
endaa pilau duo kiyera renkolong edo tata renkolong TBT pilau kile yera naje tupiko pilau ang aitobirunye vizuri pilau imeiva. So Emily savia sasa pilau ndio hiyo pilau unaona ibelekenye duo rangi ataketua na pilau lonkiri ndo duara ajo ebu aoneshe hiyo pilau. Yes,
mchele ni moja.
Wow, pilau Elena leo ikiwa ni siku ya kwanza kuipika hii pilau. Na ndio pilau vile imetokea. Ndio kachumbari nina kachumbari ipika nake kando. Vitu moja na inosa pilau ngira sinye ainosina kachumbari vizuri. Wala jo todo le pilau ajo erupuko pilau la kera oranki. Etsida na pilau sida yoleng. Pilau na tenila anya ila la shepa kinoleng. Kesha mshumbi keti poki toki pilau ile. Ngira na itomon yepo tunakaribisha wote.
Karibu.
Kwa pilau ya siku ya leo lunch time.
Utaonja la?
Yes.
Sio umeshiba.
Ndio ikiwa na anything.
Sio umeshiba.
Sasa acha tuonje hii pilau. Feel ka utamu yake.
Umesikiaje?
Tamu.
Ujaonja nini? Ujaonja kachumbari.
Ndio kachumbari lazima ionjwe na kadogo.
Tamu sana.
Sema loko link. Sidai TV Facebook. Then share and like. Bye.
Hey,
Nikipuo yiok ore ena nikintashe nipang'aki yiok ele menejai ning'asia nejo kanyoo dii ng'oru king'oru orkitok otii ene nejo metii nikijoki ketii kaji itodolie nikijoki ng'ole etang'amuaki tenkiwanja neeku toliki duake nejo entang'ani entamanai nikipuo enaalo staff ore ake pee kipuo nepuoi aaliki nejoki ore amu kaata etii apa entumo orpayiani sapuk natii tiaki engira empalai peyie kiyaki nikijoki yiok ekingerr taa ena palai kake mpaka nikidol nkonyek enyenak omairorie yiok amu ekiduaya oshiake ena kerai ente toosimui nikidol toontiifini naa mpaka naa nikidol amu mikimusu nikitoni yiok saa nabo doi kipuku tine wueji nikingerr empalai nikijoki apa kiyieu neshetakini yiok enkiwanja enewueji amu ore ene naa ketii enkolong ketii oshi yiok enkolong nikintoki ayieu keshetakini yiok inaaji apikaki oloip nikintoki sii ayieu ning'uraki yiok esiai oosaen enikiimie nejo apa kitiakita kiata sii esiai oonkera nikiyieu apa nejoki apa yiok misioki anya nena ootu nejo paa kanyoo iyieu nikijoki mpaka yiok nikijing inyoo nikiponu enkang ino inoolong taa apa ore peetii saai ena tumo enewueji naa tenkaraki yiok nashomo temisa kitotona anaata nji kigira aikunakino inakata neeku ina baye taa apa nayawua ena tumo naa yiok apa naatejo mikiyieu naa tidie wueji kidol ekiyau ntomonok metodua ena kerai ang amu toontiifini edolta iltung'anak kumok kake itu itadoiki ai tomononi ai wueji kura pasa taa peetu kintadoiki oo naa taata kitodua natomonok amaa pasa taa apa ntadoiki doldolo oo taata naa enkarna apa ake yiok kimirta neeku ina kipirta taata pee kietuo pee kiponu adol nelotu oltung'ani letu apa lolare nelotu oltung'ani apa letu elo enkiwanja adol inoolong nelotu taata adol neeku ina nabo apa nayautua yiok ene ilooi pee itaki yiok amu etejo apa ootu pee ing'uraki yiok enikiimie kuna masaa ang amu meturisho tenkop ang lolo saen oshi kimirr ore enaa enapa olong nalotu corona nikitanyamala amu lolo saen oshi yiok kimirr mikiturisho noshi enturore ang kitaramatie nkera eshomo sukuul kinyang'unyie nkishu ninye oshi kinya ninye kinchopie nkilani natoki oshi ele saen yiok kimirta lele amu tinirip ena kila neya lashumbai toonkeek tikitam ashu neya toonkeek 30 nirip enkiti kata naijo ena nikipaani nkeek are ashu kipaani 3 neeku ina toki oshi yiok kimirr neeku ina taata kigira yiok aishiraki le dama aajoki ina toki kiyieu naa ina pee kietuo naa ina olong kitolikitio nikiyieu sii loip paa tenepuo ntomonok 10 nepuo 5 naa eloip epuo nemelo enkitoo nabo olontomonok inyoo loontomonok pookin inewueji atalek kiyieu sii ena siai oosaen kitiakita apa yiok ng'oru ewueji niimie amu kitoning'o ajo ira oltung'ani loolashumba piing'uraki yiok ore ninye pee kirip nikitum nikintoki airriwaa aikop meneja atiaka neeku ina taa taata ena naitabaiki nanu ine pee kintoki naa aikaja piitoki aitomononi aitoki
ore pee nikinko etejoki naa kekumok ilturrurri tene wajo pee mikintashekino entasat neeku naa iro idimu olturrur lino ore piindip ni introduce naa matayiolo alafu nincho naa nena kulie sialedi ashu mayiolo erikore inyi nikuno nedumu ilturrurri lenye nelimu oltung'ani mbaa olturrurri lenye anaa vile ninotolimuo siyie
Enyito Nyerin dah kabar. Oh, Rudi. Ya. Ore taa kuna tomonok naa ilturruri are tene. Keeta olapa turrur likishomo yiok ayierie ile dama tolare. Kitokini aata likae turrur naa kepuku enkarikoni enye tene. Kake ore saa ele turrur naa ketii pookin ele turrur lele dama kuna. Nitoki apuku ninche nkulie tolikae turrur lenye. Kake ele turrur naa apa ilo olapa. Ninyo toiwuo kulo patipiketa amu itu ng'ole kisioki aning ena siai. Ketolikioki duo yiok ekenyua nelikini yiok ae kirowua amu ore lekina kitang'oro oleng neton ake king'or iyie ntarasi kake itu aikata kidol iyie. Ore peeponu kuna tomonok ayau ewang'an nikiyetuo aponu atum nee kinyor oleng. Amu meeta oshi entoki emaana enaa oltung'ani litang'oro liyiolo. Misi enkae ore iloip naaji lenkiwanja naa yiok oshi nena tomonok naanyita enkolong tenkiwanja amu yiok oshi napuo amirr lelo saen. Kitoki sii aaku ekiata mbiasharani napaashari amu kelo doi sinye nelotu engoloto amu ore piiken ilashumba season nemeeta enikintoki aimie lelo saen. Nikinyamalu amu eeta apa ntomonok inkang'itie. Ore peelotu enkerai eyieu school fees naa entoiwuoi enye eyiaya. Neeku ekiyieu enkae retoto napaashari telelo saen amu ekimirr oshi isaen nikimirr inkurman osukarini naa nikintoki apuo aretunyie ina biashara oosaen piilepu pee enkolong etii olosaen nareyie enkerai enkae biashara. Misi enkae kake ore enatejo naaji natii tomonok etu kintuny ekitoponaitie ake enaa biashara naa nikiata. Ore olturrur lang naa keji olorropil oltiamilet Women Group. Kake kiatua duo nena pala ang esiai. Naitabaiki nena mayian ntae enkai.
Naa enkolong duo sidai ena naa enkolong nikincho Enkai enashe. Kirorokino tenaaji naa ore enoshi entoki sidai naa ore piilotu ewuei neshipa nemekinya dakata enashe nchooyo. Mesisi Enkai. Ore taa ninche yiok natiaka naji ntae ekira ntomonok orkinyei. Enkai naji orkinyei. Mesisi olaitoriani. Neeku ore ninche yiok ikira nemanyara orkinyei nikietuo duo kira kuti. Kiyiok kuna ong'uan nikira 3 tolturrur. Nikiata mpala pookin kintaituo apa mpala pookin nikiyautua. Neeku kietuo duo adol iyie lekina enkerai ai nekinyorr iyie. Naa sidai noshi oltung'ani lotonyorra itodol mpaka naa nilotu adol. Amu kajo ore naaji enyorrata nikinyorr iyie. Ore oltung'ani linyorr itodol naa kajo ore eng'oroto apa nikitang'oro iyie talek amu mikiyiolo nkulie murua nikitang'oro iyie eng'oroto nikitang'oro olerakwa. Neeku kinyorr akeyie enaa enikinyorr olerakwa. Nikinyorr likae. Mesisi Enkai amu irara nkera ang pookin. Naa mayiolo taa nanu ajo ira nyoo ira oldia trip kake kairaki nanu enaa enanyorr naira enaa enayieu naira enaa enayiolo. Amu amaa naaji tenapik olosek ashu apik orkudany naata kanyoo naa paapik. Kairaki. Mesisi Enkai. Neeku lekina kietuo kesipa yiok nena nanyita enkolong. Nikira yiok nemanyata sapuk nikira olturrur sapuk. Kira 3 tolturrur. Metaa tenimbung sii naaji yiok enkaina niking'oroo iyie niking'atie siiyie enkop ade aitoki aitinyikaa. Mesisi Enkai. Neeku ore taa kietuo iro kiata yiok olturrur nikingero apa mpala kiyieu yiok eretoto oonoshi imai. Amu entoki naaku biashara nikiasie pee king'ororie nkera ang. Amu ore pee kitii ine naa nkera ang kinkaja kijo pee king'oroo. Neeku mikimusi ajo kiponu atum iyie pii tenira naduo olayioni ong'oroo olosho lenye nikietuo naa aikiraki iyie nemeekure orkilikuai oitakuno itum iyiok naitabaiki iyie nkutukie. Neeku ekijoki ntomonok apa nikietuo abaiki tikiakita ashe. Ena tito ai amu kara taa enorkitoip naa ena tito ai apa natolikio. Ore paaliki nalo sinanu aliki olturrur lai naa kaata oshi ake olturrur musana laata ina certificate. Neeku ekiyilakina niret iyiok nikiata nkera osukuulini napaasha nekiyieu niret iyiok teretoto nikimpoto iyie te group nintoki aret iyiok tonikiyakita iyie. Amu ore nanu kaata nkera nebaiki naaji naa inji iko naa kayieu naa ore aewuo naa kintoki aikaja aitoki ailepunye naa nijia etiu enkai. Neeku kiyautua duo nena kolati nikiyaki iyie. Naitabaikine nemayian intae Enkai amu
Mrs. Enkai ang. Ore taa olturrur lang taa ele naa nayieu natejo ore oshi paaning eorita te rendio nashomo Iungwa tenkaraki kanyorr oleng tenaning eorita amu ore oltung'ani oota olola looltung'anak lenye naa kashipa lai. Amu ore taa ilarikok pookin kigira aagelu kake negeluni oltung'ani noolong ibayie tenigelu aisho kura. Kake ore peekining oltung'ani loitoki alo rendio itoning oltung'ani lenye obao enkeju eno olemebao nining ajo ketii enchipai atua oltauja lang. Naa ina paa aning enchipai oleng toltai lai nang'warr oleng paalotu enitii. Iyiok natii naing'ua Siana. Kepaasha naa dii ake enaa enitejo kepaasha wuejitin enaa enatejo ena Sinke Enkai kepaasha wuejitin kilamita oshi iyiok enewueji nemirieki isaen kitii ake iyiok amu kepaasha naa dii nkwapi. Kepaasha iyiok enewueji mikiata iyiok enewueji maendeleo namirieki isaen ekilamita. Kitii ake iyiok enkiti korido naa iltomia ake iyiok oing'orr egira ake aing'orr iyiok iltomia enaa tanakata enaaji. Ore etabaiki ine ore eretoto taa ninche naisaidia irmareita lang naa kigira oshi aitamanaa iyiok aagelakino taata iropiyiani yaani igelu enchata musho olapa. Ore elo enkerai entomononi sukuul niking'as aisho enaduo tomononi nabo metang'asa alo enaduo kerai sukuul. Nikintoki aagelu tolikae apa nikintoki aisho enaduo kerai enaduo tomononi meshomo sukuul. Naa ore entoki nagira aret iyiok naa sokoni. Kipuo sokoni idimayu oshi eyau Lumbwa nkurman inakop eyau nkwashen nikipuo aiboroki te sokoni nikipuo aamirr nitum enaduo 100. Nisanya enaduo 100 miputayie enchata piitum aishoo enaduo anashe miputayie enaduo ropiyiani naalotie enkerai sukuul. Neeku ore entoki duo nikiyautua iyiok ayaki iyie naa eretoto nintoki aibung iyiok inkaik pee kitum ina siai nikindim ataas te sokoni enaa naa esiai nikiasita oshi tewueji nikitii. Paa enelotu naaji nitadou nena kwashen naata entoki naidim atalakie paatum enaduo 100 naisho oladuo turrur paatumoki atalakinyie enkerai e sukuul fees. Neeku ilo kasi oshi iyiok kiasita kitii inaalo Siana naa ilo siai oshi kiasita iyiok. Neeku ore ena siai ekula kiata ena kula kimirrimirta nena ale nitum enaduo 30 oltupa nipik ewueji niput enaduo fees enkerai nitumoki aishoi enaduo 100 piitumoki atalakinyie enkerai sukuul fees. Nikijo duo king'warr oleng pee kipuo enetii olarikoni lang metareto iyiok nibung iyiok inkaik aitoki apik iyiok ai kasi amu kiata iyiok osiligi ajo indim anyaaki ailepunye iyiok. Ore naa toonkarn naa keji ele turrur naretoi. Etabaikine nemayian intae Enkai.
Ore taa nche iyiok naa ore ele turrur lang naa keji Nashipai Oldiame Letei. Naa iyiok duo ake pokira naanotoki aetu. Nikigira ake aasisho oshi tena siai oosaen. Kake ikinyamal amu kegol naa esiai oosaen amu ore ake peeku nepuo ilashumba enaa napa olong'i peeku kelotu corona nikinchindikata oleng. Kigira oshi duo aas ena siai kibung'akino kira olturrur. Ore oshi duo tenikipuo enaa tenikiripisho naaji nikimirisho nikintaikino iropiyiani aaret inkera. Kegol esiai oontomonok amu idol ajo eshomo doi ninye esiai oontomonok metaa kejo aaku ninche naisumita nkera. Naa ore taata entoki nagira aitagoliki iyiok kira ntomonok naa esiai enkisuma oonkera. Amu ilepa nkera netagolo iropiyiani etaa ore enkata naa ebaiki naa ewiki eeta nkera te sukuul etii neshukunye tenkae wiki. Neeku epwonu ninye ibidi peepwonu eton itu ilak apa enapa sile eton apake eeta enapa. Nikipwonu duo iyiok teniaba olturrur lang king'oru eretoto naitokini ailepunye iyiok pee kitum entoki nikiretunye kuna kera ang te siai e sukuul amu ekigalakino oshi ropiyiani neeku ore ake peelo ena kerai nailepa naibung'o toonkilasini 8 alo secondary nitai nkituak nikindim aitaikinoto nkeek 20 aataretu enaduo tomononi nailepa enkerai naa kelo naake ena siai nejia ore naa esiai oltung'ani naa kegol amu kelo duo ninye naaji naa keponu ilashumpa olapa nebaiki neitu etum ai tomononi neeku ore yiok eretoto nikiyieu naa esiai olturrur peekilepunyieki yiok manoto entoki nikincho nkera ilepita aapuo sukuul neeku ina retoto yiok kiyieu nikira yiok 37
Nyoo duo naaji ena nindimidimi atoomonu naa mishori ntae naa peetumoki naa ataret
ekiyieu duo yiok naaji ekiata oshi embenki nikipik iropiyiani oonkera esukuul neeku ekiyieu naa nisho yiok iropiyiani nikiretunyie nkera olturrur amu olturrur nekira 37 naa ore ele turrur lang keji Nashipai oldiame letei
Esisita Enkai aigil basi ore tenkaraki ena rishata sidai naanyaaka Enkai aitabau atejo ore tenkaraki ena rishata sidai naanyaaka Enkai aitabau neton duo ake arrepita Enkai pii amu Enkai noombaa supati esisi Enkai emikitoni enaa iltung'anak oirobi nimikitoni enaa iltung'anak oibaro esidai nikilepie sautini peening'eni nijo taa mikiata sipikani emekiata nkutukie basi ore naa amu kara nanu likae gil naa ina paaigilita ena kiwanja amu kara nanu likae gil te kiama naa kara sii enoo le kinyaku teinoto naa ina ake pee aigilita ena kiwanja aitu duo ainyaku nayieu basi ore tenkaraki ena rishata sidai kang'as aaku aawa nanu enkarna sapuk oleng amu aning apake naa iltung'anak oji looshama mara mingi natijing'a nanu nena aata ilturruri sii naa lagira aitasheki nyaaba enye duo leitu etumoki aetu kake ore naa irkirowua najing enchore nairowua iltung'anak amu loirowua naa eyieu enakop aewuo ateshetaki enchore natii oshi nanu telikae amayioo nang'or enchore natesheta irmurran amu mayieu nalo siadi neeku ore tenkaraki aata olturruri lagira aitasheki nyaaba enye amu kaata obo lara olarikoni naata olagira ake aitashe tenyaaba tenkaraki iltung'anak lemetii arikok kake naitashe nanu tenyaaba enye amu nanu terishata naa ina paitashe ajo ekiata naa ilo turrur amu kang'oroo sinanu amu kara ormurrani ong'oroo enchore arashu esirit kagira aitasheki olturrur oji Odupoi Oime Group nagira aitasheki olturrur oji Olamayiana naa ore teilo turrur oji Odupoi naa nanu enkarikoni nanu Shaya Lady kake itu taa ayau nkardasini amu itu anapa amu atii sinanu ng'ole telikae amayioo nalotu tenkewarie najo ore ake peeji kipuoi enkang ele dama najo masupatu mekashom ore ninye enking'asia kagira duo nanu akwenikie toonkarrin amu kairura naa amu ahomo tenkae dama nalotu tenkae kewarie tenkaraki sinanu ena siai natii agira aitasheki oltim loolaranyak aitashe tina nyaaba neeku ore tenyaaba lelo turruri okuni agira aitashe tenkaraki lelo turruri okuni metii ilarikok kake aibung'ita sinanu ena rishata naitabau orkilikuai lenye nchere meetai taa kindipa kingil ake eetai amu itu naa kinapa yiok lelo turruri okuni arashu aare kake eton kingil naake aaponu amu kitayiolito naa enkoitoi nikijo naa ormaasai memany meleeno naa ina paayewuo aleen
Kaji nanu Samson Ole Simbiri
Sidai TV kaji nanu mesha kule kilesine limu kuna ngoroki walomona te Sidai TV kaji nanu mesha kule kilesine limu lomoni njere shambur minisa yota sheki mbaya nkisuma tolosho le Kenya yoloria na Professor George Magoha alawotre malimuni kitwa glosu kuluni pemebwage hapo ironye ndeshuki nkera ndisolaki nana nati aburi ashwa ne medi mentoi wenyara like school fees pemebwari nyinkangire nelo meta katalaki na kiropiani na irasheki enkisuma ebalunya Magoha ajo ore netodwake siana onkera kumok na grapo sukuluni engwarita enkisuma kake mera ntoi wenya nkidimana nejo kelo serikali aeroruara na dola jo kepuna na kera abik netume enkisuma to sukuluni takule komon woishoreta enkiroshi nelimu lomoni njere ibalunya nake imalunye serikali ajo kela yeruruata sheria oltung'ani pookin otumie shoma iromba na enkirikino torpolosie ore sheta nake murua yerorie norete tenebo wankararo ore iltung'ana oshomo shinegira rumurumoro kaji narare tene batolo shoni balunye olote County Commissioner yolotiana Nur Hassan tena batolo shajo kepoya yeruruata poke tongani olaya omba naijo nenkirikino tena bata olosho asho elo polosim otopona dokoya mbaya nkarusho egraya adult tolerance kumoko tulusoitim.
Our instructions, which are basically His Excellency the President's instructions, are very clear that every child must be at school. All day schools are free of charge within the walking distance of many children. So any child who has not gone to school should be taken there. I have directed many times that no teacher in this republic should send a child back home from a day school for any charge which is legal. This is because the government of His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has already sent money for running those schools at this particular time. If you must provide lunch for your children and some can't afford, and you are not very nice, then don't give them any food. But you have no right to send them home. I've had reports, and I think we are going to take very firm action against some head teachers and principals who are still doing that.
Takule ko mona ke wo ishorita ingiroshi nelimu lomoni njere pwito la keshaka poke no yongorolori kalerai seta raba ya dogo ya Wolturuli IBC adura repwita yamba kumoka na pwe na eperta ninche ashona ishoni njeme shomo atu mereshara na pwe ngorunyolori kalerai seta lari lonkalo sunyare wo tikita moare limu lomoni njere wala baikol tibiri lengolene shomo Wolturuli IBC aiwanyesi yana wala keshaka orato monare wapogre ngorolori kalerai tangara kiana joe Ethiopia itabaya ingwara tabana yeulo Turuli IBC peyetumi ashom aitabai
authorized official of the party, and want to emphasize that certificate must be signed by the authorized official of the party, and I'm sure you've already shared with us who is authorized. Number 3 is that we will require the chairman will also require that you furnish him with a duly filled statutory form, which include Form 12, which you must be familiar now, which to be known, but then we follow what the names are or how the names are in the register of voters. Number 2 is it must be signed by the candidate himself. Number 3, it must be signed by the proposer and seconder who shall be in the register of voters. So again, that is very important to remember. For political party sponsored candidates, the proposer and seconder must be members of the political party. I'm just emphasizing what the chair has said. For independent candidates, the proposer and seconder must not be members of any registered political party. So ensure that is adhered to. And then attach a copy of identification documents used to register as a voter. So if you used an ID, please ensure that it's the ID you present. If you use a passport, make sure that it is the passport that you bring. Now, and the last is affix. We must have a passport-size photograph whose dimensions are specified by the Commission, and soft copy in a flash, soft copy of the same photograph. So we'll have a hard copy on the form, on Form 12, and a soft copy in a flash for uploading. And should be JPEG format, white background, with no shadows, maximum size of 1 MB. Of course, this has already been shared with you, and if you don't have a copy of what we are sharing, please make sure that you go with it. Resolution should be 1028 by 768 pixels. Aspect ratio camera should be 4.3 and must be of a portrait orientation. This is very important because this is a photo that goes into your into the ballot paper. So make sure that it adheres to these requirements. Now, the next form is Form 13, which is a statutory declaration form for purposes of nomination for election. You must come with a self-declaration form. You must also furnish the commission chair with a duly signed code and dated, duly signed and dated. Very, very important. Code of conduct, that is very important. For political party candidates and independent candidates, an electronic version and the duly filled list of the 2,000 supporters for each of the majority of the counties in the prescribed form and submitted to the commission. Like the chair has said, that is what we are receiving at the entrance. We are receiving the 2,000 in hard copy and in electronic format. I will later explain what we will be doing from today until that particular day. And then lastly, be accompanied by copies of the identity cards of the supporters. So we expect that if you brought 48,000 supporters, then we expect 48,000 copies of their IDs. Number 4 is that for independent candidates, they must maintain a functioning office in their respective electoral areas where the candidate is contesting, which must be available for inspection by the Commission at least 45 days before the election. The address, including the physical address of the office, must be communicated to the Commission. 5th is the nomination fee in banker's check payable to IEBC. And I see most of the time, because some of us have been arrows before, you write IEBC in short. Please write in full the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on the banker's check. The banker's check should be addressed as such, and it will be Kenya shillings 200,000 for candidates and 100,000 for youth, women, and persons with disability. 200,000 for everybody else who is not a youth, woman, or a person with disability who are required to give us a banker check of 100,000. Last but not least is that, like the Commission Chair has just said, is submit a comprehensive election campaign schedule covering the entire period. So from 29, if in your nomination, in your registration, you are registered on 29th, so the chairman will expect you to furnish him with your campaign schedule running from 29th all the way to 7th of August, which is 48 hours before the time of the election, and therefore that must be covered. And like the Commission Chair said again, you will definitely, after doing the schedules, you will come back again and harmonize so that you don't conflict during your campaigns. I want to just give you a small, a preview of the workflow of how we are looking at the work that you're bringing to us. Today, we'll be receiving your signatures, your supporters, your booklets of supporters in the format that you've been told, and the electronic format of the same. We will not, of course, be going into the nitty-gritty today. We are just receiving. And we are saying that once the presidential aspirants or representatives bring their documentation, then we will ask again that you sign a declaration that they have witnessed the collection that we have received. And then we will also give you a form to sign, which must be signed, that you witness the collection of those signatures. And then once you sign, then the aspirants or their representatives may witness the process of receiving the documents, like is happening out there. You are welcome to see how we are receiving them, the process, and how we are taking custody of your documents, so that at least you are aware of how we are going to do it. Then the next step is that during registration, when you appear before the Commission Chair for your registration, the Candidates Registration Secretariat will process the documents to confirm the following. We will be processing these documents ahead of time. By the way, we are processing your signatures because we know that is usually a challenge. We want to process beginning today and the 28th. And if there are any issues relating to those, to the signatures, we will be calling you back to either top up or to change anything that we will have noticed, because we, again, like the chair has said, we want to give everybody a chance, an equal chance, to make sure that they comply. So we will be here, we will be in Bomas, we will give you the address. You can always pop in and see what we are doing, and of course, and see how we are processing. And please give us, and I want to emphasize on behalf of the Secretariat, give us a good address or a good telephone number that does not go unanswered, so that in case we have a problem and we have to reach you, please give us a number that we can call and we can reach, and probably if you can give us even 3 or 4, so that we can reach you and communicate any issues that we would like as a Secretariat. So we will receive the documents, we'll serialize them and paginate them. We will ensure that we will try to make sure that they are bound properly. Because again, we don't want to receive loose leaves on behalf of the chair, because that again might pose a problem. So make sure they are properly bound so that as we receive them, we know they are secure from your end. And then the records are, we will look at the records, whether they are complete, whether they have the names are there. We will look at the IDs that are put there. We will look at the county code, if they are captured well, the name of the constituency and the code, and make sure that they are signed, that the proposers, the supporters that you've given us, have all those details, including the signature at the end of it all. Then we will again look at the submitted corresponding copies of identity cards. We will compare and see if the voters have, of course, the supporters presented correspond, the IDs correspond with the signatures that have been given. It's such a Hercule job. If you think you have a lot of work, we are going to go through that. Make sure that each entry is supported by a similar corresponding ID, and that is what we have. We are planning to do, so that each of those entries are supported. We are going to confirm the constitutional threshold of 2,000 supporters from majority of the counties, and then, of course, we'll generate a report for the commission chair, who will then, of course, make a decision in as far as what we have received is concerned. Before then, we secure all the documents that you have given us. There will be handing over and taking over checklist, which we'll again provide. So before you leave here, make sure you have signed a handing over, that you have handed over your documents, and our people have received, and you have a copy of the same. So do not leave before you hand over properly all your documentation. Then, of course, we will again make sure that the same is also received by the chairman, who will then deal with the documentation and provide you with the information and feedback as required. So for now, I think I will stop there and wish you well, and hand over the mic back again to DCS, so that we can open another session for any issues regarding what the chairman has said. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sunguli, for clarifying many issues. I was a county returning officer in 2017, and as a human being, I called meetings for aspirants and candidates. There is nothing that feels good to a returning officer when you call for a meeting and the aspirants or the candidates attend in person. It is very, very fulfilling. So what am I saying here? When the national returning officer calls you as presidential candidates, please try and attend in person. It feels good. I've experienced it myself. Because in 2017, I can actually remember where each of the candidates were seated in my room, where I called them. Okay? So it is very important, because you don't know what is going to communicate. So next time the national returning officer calls for a candidates meeting, please advise your candidates to attend in person. Another free advice to you is that remain in contact with your returning officer. Why? To make any clarifications where there's need. Yes, Mr. Sunguli and even himself as the returning officer has told us what he needs. But you're human beings. You could get home, get to your office, and you feel you have missed something. Call him and find out, what did you mean here? You said this, I was not clear. Make clarifications up to the last day. Again, free advice, make sure you seek his advice every time. What do you think, my national returning officer?
Eka jina no Samson Ole Simbiri.
Sidai TV, ka jina no Mesha